might be partial to farm all. What do you think? Well, back here once again at the Maple Leaf Truck and Tractor Pull. Don't know how many entrances yet. I know we got 2 sleds. Got an orange one and a red one. I got permission to give you a ride on the red sled. See if we can do that in just a little bit. Those of you that have been with me a while will remember that last year I was invited to go to the Maple Leaf Shootout Track and Tractor Pull and take videos. So I did, and I posted a video that showed several of the events that took place there. And so this year they decided that instead of giving away those little trophies that, you know, look like about the same as what you get for a Little League tournament with just a tractor or a truck stuck on top of them, that they wanted to have something unique and different and special to the Maple Leaf Festival. So I was asked if I would be interested in making trophies for the first place winners in each of the different divisions that they had. Now, there's 16 different divisions. So that means 16 different trophies. I toyed around with ideas for a couple of days and finally came up with one that I thought would be halfway decent, so I made a template of a maple leaf. And what I was thinking is, I'll take that maple leaf and I'll cut it out of hardwood, good hardwood. And then I'll stain it the color of a fall leaf. And place onto it a plate that said what the trophy was for. They accepted it, said they thought that was a decent idea, and so I begun. The wood that I'm using is that same rubber wood that I've used in several different projects. It's light enough that it will take a decent stain, yet it's heavy enough that it doesn't feel like a piece of particle board, and it does have grain to it too. If you remember, that rubber wood was pre-cut to be furniture parts. And so they're all the same length, they're all the same width, they're all the same thickness. And it takes 4 wide panels in order to be able to make the leaf. So in this video, there are going to be 2 videos. In this first video here, we'll finish all of the milling. And that will include getting the lumber prepped, putting it into panels, cutting the panels into blanks, marking out the blanks, cutting out the blanks, trimming them using the template and a trim bit, then putting a bevel on the edge of them, putting a slot in the back, a T-slot, so that they can hang them, and getting them planed and prepped and ready for finish. At the end of this video, I'll go ahead and throw in one of the truck pulls that happened early on in the contest.
3, 4,
And then I
5,
promised
6,
within
7,
a couple
8,
days
9, 10,
I'll post part
11,
2.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, I got 16 blanks, all marked. Got to drill some relief holes here so I can turn these corners, and then I think I'll be ready. So I drill relief holes at points where I need to make tight turns and where I don't want to have to cut the rest of the board out, okay, as I take it through the scroll saw. So I've got the drill press set up here on the Shopsmith, got it set, ready to go. I'm going to go through this. I've got 15 more of these to drill. So this here is a fairly coarse blade. It's 15 teeth per inch, and it's pretty thick. It's 0.110 thick here, and it's just right at 1/8 of an inch wide. Reason why I'm using that is because this is a pretty hard wood right here, okay? It cuts very similar to a white oak, and it's pretty thick. This has 3/4 of an inch of travel, and this is actually slightly over 3/4 inch. So I need to have a fairly coarse blade in order for the sawdust to clear out of it while you're making a cut so it doesn't overheat. As you can tell, I've cut one already, and it's already turning a little bit blue in here. So I've pushed it just a little more than it wants to be pushed. But anyway, what I'll do, and another reason why I want to use a blade like this is because, as you'll notice, there are some curves in here, but the curves are fairly gentle, okay? But the majority of it is very close to straight, okay? And I can make these curves with this blade. But I've put relief in here on the tight curves, and relief's up here at the top so that I can, because these will just cut out the edge and cut back in, out the edge, cut back in. When you get up here, I'll be able to turn the piece and go out of the cut, turn the piece, and then come back into the cut, okay? This blade is probably the best one I have for the combination of the hardness of the wood, the thickness of the wood, the radius of the cuts that I need to make, and being durable enough not to break it every time I turn around. I'll probably break a few of these. I've got 6 of them, I think, and I hope that's enough to get through these. But we'll see. So I'm going to set up, and I'm going to go ahead and start making cuts on this.
Well, I'm ready to trim up the part. So the part is on the bottom. The template is on the top. And you'll notice that when I cut it outside of the line. Okay, so there is a piece, a little edge here. I tried to keep it to a minimum, but there's a little piece that sticks outside of the template, and it goes all the way around. So in every case, I have just a little dab of wood that I can trim off. And I'm going to take this router bit here that has the cutter on the bottom and a bearing on top. The bearing will follow along on the template here, the edge of the template, and the cutter then will be cutting down here where the part is. But I learned, especially in the last project I did, I learned that you have, when you get to real thin parts like this, they tend to chip off, okay? The router bit will catch them, especially on this. You see, you'll notice that the grain on this runs up and down the leaf. I did that because I wanted to have it so that it, well, it's just the right way to have the grain running, is up and down the leaf instead of across the leaf. So, but no matter which way I turn it, as you can see, these points stick out all the way around. The side, the top, and the side, okay? And even, you know, this one here is pointing somewhat down, so you might say even the bottom. So there's no way to turn it so you don't have the grain running across one of these points. See right there? How the grain runs across there, runs across here. Now in this direction, it's pretty straight. But what it will do then is it will chip that grain out like this and break it down this way, okay? So there's really no way to keep that grain oriented how you want it so that it doesn't break, chip off. So what I'll do is, as I route this, I'll start in about here from the point right here, and I'll run it around the part until I get out to about here, and then I'll stop, okay? And I'll do that on each of the points, and that'll give me a nice smooth inside curves. Inside curves are more difficult to sand than outside curves. But anyway, I'm going to leave them points alone so that I don't chip them off. Then I'll take it over to the sander and I'll finish up those tips. I want to round them off anyway because I don't really want it sharp, because people will be handling these. So I'm going to set this up, and you don't just take the part and shove it through the router like this and get it to do it, okay? You kind of have to carve away a little bit at a time and get it to where where the bearing is just barely touching the edge here. And then you take one last cut and you go from the starting point to the finish point, and you're not, like I said, it won't include those tips, from the starting point to the finish point, and that gives you a nice smooth inner surface. But I have to do them, it takes quite a while, but you have to do them a little bit at a time, okay?
So I'm going to set this up on the router and see if you can watch as I carve that inside of the bottom part to match this template. Now I'll take it over, and as you can see, there's the tips need to be blended in and rounded off a little bit. So I'll go take care of and do that over there on the sander. This is the oscillating spindle sander. I have it set up with a 1/2-inch diameter sanding drum on it. And I'm going to trim out these corners on this. I'll round them off and then blend them in. Well, okay, next operation, I want to cut a keyhole slot in the back of each one of these so that they can hang it. What I have here is a keyhole bit, and it's set up so that you plunge it and move it straight to the side and shut it off. Then you back it up and you can lift it off. And I'll show you how that works. And then when we're done, I'll show you what the slot looks like. These stops are set up to make an 1.25" slot. Okay, so I drop it this way and move it across. Okay. And so the slot looks like that. Okay. So this is a chamfering bit. It's 45-degree chamfer. I'm going to take these edges here and put a chamfer all the way around them. Okay. Do it only on the front side. I don't know if you can pick it up there, but there's a slight chamfer on that edge. What that will allow me to do is that when I do the finishing, I'm going to have a dark stain on the edge. That'll hide some of the roughness, but it'll also separate out the finish. And once I put that on, then I come back and I sand it, and that'll make all of this so that it's nice and clear and plain and no overlap of the stain. So then I can take the light color stain. I'm thinking about yellow and red. I'm not for sure just exactly yet. I'll have to look and see what stains out best. But at any rate, that'll be a clear stain, an aniline dye stain. And then I can do this surface right here, and if it happens to lap over on the black, it isn't going to matter. Because once I get done with that, then I'll put a lacquer coat on it, and that'll seal it all up. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and chamfer a few more of these. Got 15 more to go.
All right, we're green at the far end. We are green for Kyle Kinder at a licking in his 79 Ford. That one may be enough to take the class. Let's see how far the distance is. 350.68. That gives Kyle Kinder the win in the 6200 hot stock trucks.
This completes all of the milling on these trophies, and the video's getting kind of long, so I'll wrap it up on the second video, and I will be able to get it out in just a few days. I do appreciate you watching, and I hope you have nothing less than a wonderful day.